Boom, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. Well, it has officially begun. The establishment, not just the establishment Democrats, but the establishment Republicans have begun their quest to silence patriotic, America first, America loving Trump supporters and Trump himself. And this is a very frustrating topic for me because I fully realize that there are a lot of conservative Americans out there who really have no idea sometimes what they are supporting when they are supporting the neocons, the establishment Republicans, because I think a lot of conservative people don't have enough time to really dive into the nitty gritties. Not that I have the time, but I have come across the information, and once it's exposed, it's exposed. And I used to be the same way. I used to be a Republican, backing regardless. They're all the same. Republican means they're Republican across the board, and it's all the same. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I would say there is a staunch difference between neoconservatives and paleoconservatives. I think there is a staunch difference between America First people and establishment Republicans. And the sad thing about it is that establishment Republicans aren't much better than Democrats. They really are not. But the big issue and the reason why they're able to continue to do the bullshit that they do, just like the Democrats, is because most conservative men and women are just not aware of the difference that exists. And now you have this DeSantis versus Trump. You have an onslaught of a barrage of pushback against Trump from many Republican politicians who were the same ones who were against Trump in 2016. Never forget that, folks. Never forget. Okay, I'm going to set the stage for you. Okay, never forget that back in 2016, and like I said, I fell prey to this when I was, unaware. This was the first time I was voting, and not the first time I was paying attention to politics. I mean, I've always, been interested in politics. But back in 2016, you had Trump, who was just taking out people left and right, bodies, just taking people out left and right, bodies in the debates, in his rallies. And he exposed the rhino goofballs who are just as bad and selling our country off just as much as the Democrats are. He exposed it. And if you remember, when Trump, it was obvious that Trump had this phenomenal support. He took out Marco Rubio, gone, body, gone. Took out Jeb Bush, body, gone. All these establishment Republicans. Blech. Just took them out. That was the sequence. Then it came down. Marco Rubio was still hanging around, but then it got to the point where he had to bow out because if Ted Cruz was going to have any chance, I may have it reversed actually, but anyways, the point remains the same. If Ted Cruz was going to have any shot at beating Donald Trump, the establishment needed Marco Rubio to bow down, to bow out of the fight like the pussy he is. And he did. He did. And it made no difference. Trump won because he was the best candidate. He was the only one who had any chance in fulfilling the will of the American people. And that's the main point here, is it's not necessarily that the theological difference between paleocons and neocons is so like terribly different and it's terrible in and of itself. That's not, I mean, it's part of it, but it's not all of it. The main thing is that the American people, especially American conservatives, have not been represented for so long, and they have been looking for justice for so long, that Trump represented the best chance to make that happen. He was the only person that was listening to the will of the people in any regard. Now, did that end up prevailing for Trump? Not necessarily. You know, Trump, and you know, it's very difficult sometimes. You know, that is why I'll give you guys a perfect example. Conservative judges that get appointed to the Supreme Court, they start out very conservative, but then they get more and more liberal the longer they stay in Washington. Why? Because all the people they're around, the echo chamber that they are in, the bubble that they are in, morph them into who they ultimately become, which is less conservative. And you know, the same thing happened to Trump. You know, he went to Washington, and you know, it wasn't that he did bad, but at the same time, he did not stay the exact same as what he was in 2016. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on that because, quite frankly, that is a different topic for a different day. Okay, the main thing that I'm getting at in this video is, if you are against the establishment in any way, shape, or form, if you are against the swamp, the behemoth, the monstrosity that is Washington, D.C., then you are for Trump. You are not for DeSantis. You are not for Paul Ryan. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just absolutely hilarious. Paul Ryan, you know, when Trump had all the power that he had, cozied up to him, he bent the knee, and now look at this son of a bitch. Look at what he's doing. Former Speaker Paul Ryan calls himself a never again Trumper. Oh, I'm a never again Trumper. What a fucking pussy, dude. This guy is the biggest rat bastard I have ever seen. You know, the the South Park episodes where they show, you know, Mitch McConnell, you know, in his turtle manner, and they show Paul Ryan with cum on his face. I can never, when I look at him, I cannot get that image out of my mind. I will forever see him as a dude with cum on his face and a black eye. What a fucking dork. And what they're beginning to do, and this is what you cannot allow. If you are not for the establishment, therefore you're for Trump, what you can't allow is for the mass media that is controlled by a certain segment of the population. Now, but again, don't want to go too far down that, and it's not just them, okay? There's other people. Like I said, it's the establishment Republicans. That's who we're talking about here. You cannot allow them to convince you of this narrative that they're trying to push. The narrative that they are trying to push is that Trump is the reason that they lost the midterms, which is absolute bullshit. It is absolutely bullshit. And I began to slightly believe it myself. But the reality is that the GOP, what really happened is the GOP gave money to establishment Republicans in, for example, they gave a shit ton of money to DeSantis, even though he was already 20 points up. They didn't. So they gave money to establishment Republicans in races that they were likely to win anyways, as opposed to giving money to candidates in races that definitely had a chance to win, but they were America First type candidates. So, in other words, the GOP is, as sad as they want to seem about losing the midterms, it was a concerted effort to get America First politicians and candidates out of elected office. That is what this was. And you know what? I can't stand for it. I cannot stand for it. I quite frankly, Trump, his announcement that he is running for president, it wasn't the best announcement, in my opinion. I don't think it was terrible necessarily, but it wasn't the best it could have been. And in a lot of ways, Trump has morphed into the establishment in some ways. Okay. But again, that's a different topic for a different day. But as far as this, I cannot stand for this. The American people, the base of dorks like Paul Ryan have put them in office because they mask themselves as people who believe the same things that we believe. But in reality, they don't. It's just a way for them to get power. They never give us the justice that we are looking for. They never fulfill the will of the American people. When is the last time a Republican candidate has fulfilled the will of their base? When is the last time that's happened? I'll tell you, it hasn't happened with establishment Republicans. I'll tell you that right now. Look at this fucking dork. How is he any better than the Democrats? Look at some of the outlets that he's going on and berating a former president of the United States. And here's the term that they keep saying. I'm going to try not to be too fired up here. They keep using words like unelectable or, bad candidates. Those are the things that they keep saying. In other words, bad candidates are America First candidates. Unelectable candidates are America First candidates. That's what they want you to believe, when that is furthest from the truth. That is so false. Back in 2016, the people who achieved the greatest victories were the people who were America First and convinced the conservative base that they were going to fulfill the will of the base and serve up some motherfucking justice. So it's just patently false. It is patently false that these are unelectable candidates. Folks, at this point, if you're, and I personally, I cannot see why you would continue watching, people like Ben Shapiro or, Michael Knowles or, all of these like cucked Republicans. They really are. And if you truly want America to be saved, they are not the answer. They are not the answer. Their vision is not the answer, because ultimately what their vision is not a vision for the future of America or how to save America, but rather, bullshit, statements and themes and, my taxes, but, my, we got to cut government spending. It was so amazing that we got 11% of the black vote. Can you believe that we have a Latina that won? It's like, oh my God, spare me. That is so lame. It is so lame. You sound like a Democrat. But ultimately, I mean, I'm not surprised that they're able to get away with this because the boomer generation is as neocon as they come. They are like I said, they're as neocon as they come. Like my grandpa, for example, you know, we agree on a shit ton of things, but there's certain things that he believes because it has been force fed to him as a conservative since he was my age. This bullshit, um you know taxes, fiscal responsibility. It's like nobody gives a fuck about that. Yeah, it's great. I would love for that to be the case, but people are suffering out here. People are hurting. People are being forced and mandated to get shots. People are losing their jobs, their livelihoods. The streets have run amok with homelessness, mass homelessness. LGBTQ and transgenderism is being forced down our kids' throats. Men, especially white men, are being shat on every chance people can get. We're just, at the end of the day, we're just looking for anybody to represent us. So we're just looking for justice. That's what we're looking for. And um, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what is not the answer is a fucking cuck like Paul Ryan. He is not the answer. Never has been, never will be. This guy is as gross and disgusting as the Democrat Party. Never forget what happened in 2016, folks. Never forget that the GOP tried. They openly tried in every way they could. They openly tried to make it so that the will of the people, which was to have Trump be the GOP nominee, did not happen. They don't give a fuck about you. So don't reward them. Stop rewarding them. I'm not, honestly, guys, I'm at the point now where I don't think I don't I don't I don't think Republicans are going to get my vote just because anymore. I mean, for a long, for a couple of years now, that's been the case because in my mind, it's better than the alternative, which is, which is uh, the Democrats. But, you know, but is it really? I mean, because in the end, if you're putting forth that and the person actually wins, then you know it's just it probably is a little bit better than Democrats, but again, it's I think it's just better at this point to not endorse them at all. Here it is. Because when you do cast your vote, you are basically saying, you know what, because here's why it's important. This is what I was trying to say before and what I'm saying in this whole video. Because and here's why the idea that voting for them is better than voting for the Democrats, even though they're shit. Here's why it's false. Because when you cast your vote for them, you're essentially saying that you are supporting them being pussies and being, you know, selling this country off bit by bit. Maybe not as openly as the Democrats are, but they're doing it. This is hilarious. It couldn't be, man. That is so true. That is exactly how I view Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and Paul Ryan. They are rats. They're rat bastards. All right, guys, be sure to like, comment, share. Definitely subscribe. Support your boy. Takes 1.25 seconds. I love all the support. You guys really are the best. And keep fighting, folks. Keep hanging in there. That's the only way that any of this is going to get better, is by us standing firm and being men and being masculine and doing what needs to be done to ensure the future of this country and of our family, our loved ones. All right, guys, I will talk to you guys next time. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. In fact, our feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.